come back to this video and type "Daddy is done."
So Micheal Dappa is part of a new wave of actors whose talents speak for itself. They are not doing the most, they are not trying too hard, they just know how to act. And we can also undeniably agree Micheal is attractive. He's tall, he's dark, he's striking, and to top it off, dude knows how to rock some dreads, okay? And although he has expressed not wanting to be boxed in that label, it was a unique identifier that made you sort of pause, something unconventional. And it undeniably contributed to his recognition. Guy with the dreads in Nollywood, the tall, dark, attractive guy with dreads in Nollywood. But beyond appearance, there's range, control on screen, presence, delivery, all of it sharpening an already compelling image. So combine that with his talent and we have ourselves a fast rising star. But what is more interesting to me is I have seen this before with the likes of Maurice Sam, Daniel Etim, Uche Montana, Sonia Uche. All those people had a period in their YouTube career upon entry where people were gushing over them, people were obsessed with their movies, people were constantly watching their movies, constantly talking about them. They were everywhere at each and every particular time in these actors' debut or rise to fame. They are the only people I wanted to watch whenever I went on YouTube to watch a movie. Let's talk about Maurice Sam as an example of this scenario. There was a time where I would go on YouTube and wanting to watch a movie would only want to watch Maurice Sam movies because at that time I was obsessed with his movies. I still do think he's a really talented actor, but the obsession has dwindled down. It has, gone down. Good actor, great movies and everything, but the obsession is not as it used to be when he first started acting. Same thing applies to Daniel, same thing applies to countless Nollywood actors and actresses that we've been blessed with to watch on YouTube. Now it's Micheal Dappa, whom I can't stop watching on YouTube. So I started asking myself why. Why does this happen? Why is it that we suddenly have an obsession with, say, a footballer or a musician or a movie actor in this case? Then suddenly, because the next person or the next talent arrives, we totally forget about not forget we totally the obsession just fades and we suddenly transform our obsession to this new discovered talent. So in this video I'm going to try to explain by essentially talking about what attraction is, how attraction works in pop culture, specifically how audiences form attraction, and how media amplifies desirability, how it declines and stabilizes as a result of overexposure, familiarity, newest big thing, like I said earlier, and how personalities like Micheal can take advantage of this way. This is going to be grounded in the hedonic adaptation theory. If you are interested in this video, keep on watching. So attraction in media is really just about looks. I personally believe that this obsession that a lot of his fans have is not just about the fact that Micheal is obviously a fine guy, but that's not it. I think there's something deeper than that. It's also not entirely about the fact that he's a talented actor. Also very true, he's talented. It's the combination: attractiveness, talent, and visibility. When those three things align, you get what we are seeing right now with Micheal Dappa: intense, amplified attention. But the question is, how long does it last and why? Let's talk about the attraction economy for just a few minutes. Dappa is not just talented, I feel like he's perfectly timed within the attention economy, where attention doesn't just exist, it follows patterns and cycles. There's also something called the hedonic adaptation, where repeated exposure reduces emotional intensity. Essentially, the more we see something, the more we become familiar with that thing. It becomes less exciting as time goes on. There's a peak, there's a plateau, and then there is a point where it is stabilized. And I feel like for a lot of celebrities, a lot of personalities, a lot of famous people, having that understanding and knowing these different waves and the particular time or period in which they find themselves or where they find themselves in these different waves is a way to maximize once the attention is on you. The people who understand this, the celebrities who understand this, the famous people who understand this, don't just enjoy the moments, they maximize it. So let's talk about the pattern. I've seen this play out where actors who were highly visible, admired, were giving romantic lead energy all the time, back to back. And then over time, the intensity just softens. It's not because the talent went away, not because people didn't enjoy their movies anymore. It's just that the intensity with which they started off has stabilized and the audience have adapted to that. So I'm going to get deeper into the phases of attraction. Every public figure, celebrity move through phases. I think we've already established that. There's the discovery, the obsession, the saturation. There's also the stability phase. And if they are able to implement a very good strategy, you can even have a reinvention phase. So you don't go through the decline, but you sort of like reinvent yourself to start the whole process. Discovery is a phase where these personalities or celebrities are visible enough to be seen, but not too overexposed. When I think about the discovery phase, I often go back to my childhood. Well, not my childhood, my teens, where Bieber fever started, where Justin Bieber was introduced to the world. People were gushing over him. People were wondering who this talent was, who this young man with perfect hair was coming from. You are introduced to people as a celebrity or a famous person or a person of talent. People don't know too much about you. People are curious about you. People now starts to get used to you. That is the discovery phase. Another typical example or something that is more closer to home is when Maurice Sam movies started airing on YouTube. We had no idea who he was. We were just blown away by this talented build, six-pack actor who was really, really talented, to be honest. And we were just amazed by the raw talent of this person. So again, we got curious. Think of any other celebrity, the Rihannas, the Beyoncés, Nollywood, everywhere around the world, any new talent, the Rimas, the Davidos, the Bizkids, all these popular people that we now have accepted as celebrities or personalities, they all started or were introduced at a point to the world. Well, at this phase, the audience is still discovering, people are projecting, people are paying attention, essentially being curious because it feels fresh. People don't know much about this person. They are trying to dig into this person. In some extreme cases, even trying to get details of their personal life. Your audience starts to build as a celebrity. You start getting new followers, you start getting views on posts, people start interacting with you, people start liking everything that you do or post about yourself, which I have personally observed with Micheal Dappa. This personality essentially will be having noticeable appearances. It's not at a point where it's too much, where they are everywhere, but you kind of sort of see them once in a while on social spaces, i.e., social media or events. And this is kind of like the induction into the world of personalities or celebrity. But I think we've seen this before, haven't we? And then as time goes on, the intensity fades. Not because the actor became less attractive, but because the audience just adapted. Maybe a different celebrity came along, maybe this person that they used to be obsessed with changed something. Either they switched to a different role, changed genres in music, something. The hedonic adaptation theory simply says that the more we see something, the more we are constantly exposed to that thing or that person, we slowly lose obsession over that thing. So basically, see finish. When you are constantly exposed to this person, you constantly are being fed with content about this person, you basically get to a point where you are saturated with too much information. You've seen this person over and over and over again on your screen, in videos, in movies, in public places, appearances, and you just want something else, something fresh, something new, so that you are able to go back to the discovery phase. So essentially, the more we see something, the less stimulating it becomes. It could also be that this personality, i.e., the actor or the singer or the musician, has transitioned into a different role or a different career, or they explore other interests, and because we've boxed them into, maybe this romantic male lead persona, next time you see this person in, you say, a music industry, you sort of don't know how to navigate that because I know you to be this is how I identify you, this is your identity in my head, or this is how I see you. You are not allowed to explore other interests, or you're not allowed to move out of that box that I have placed you in. We've always known Beyonce to be somebody who was doing mostly R&B, and in recent times Beyonce transitioned, not totally stopping what she used to do, but she transitioned into, singing more or doing more country music. And there was this whole backlash from a lot of people saying that she doesn't do country. Why is she trying to transition and all that? So essentially, people were just projecting onto her, and people did not understand or did not know how to handle the fact that this celebrity or this personality cannot be boxed into one area. From the discovery phase, we move on to the acceleration phase, where you have optimal exposure. People are now really obsessed with you. I feel this is the point where Micheal Dappa is currently in, where people are obsessed with his movies in a good way. I mean, the attention is positive, is good. People want to know everything about you. People are just loving everything you put out. It's also such a powerful phase in every personality or celebrity's career, because this is the point where you make maximum use out of the attention that you are getting. Here, people's perception about you is still forming. Curiosity is still building. It hasn't been replaced with familiarity just yet. People are still interested in you, what you're doing, the work you're putting out. Essentially everything you do, people would just grab, and it translates into, the metrics, the views, the revenue. It translates into how well the movie that this particular person, in this case Michael, is starred in, it translates into how well this movie does. And because producers, directors, people also want value for their money, they give this personality more roles, more appearances, more interviews. You also have social media amplification, conversation, fan attention, constant circulation, high appeal, strong presence. Essentially, as a personality or as a celebrity, you are everywhere, but people don't think it's doing too much, or people haven't yet started saying, oh, we are used to this person, or this is too much. People still are feeding on what you are putting out there. Here, the attraction driver is your visibility plus your controlled saturation. This phase does not last forever, which is why this video is so important. Not just for celebrities, but also for young people at the peak of their careers where, suddenly they are exposed to fame. So, what can I do right now to make maximum profit out of it, to have the most best return on investment for my talents, for the work that I have done in improving myself or getting to the point where I am at? Because the thing about media is that attention moves. Saturation follows visibility. How do you take advantage of this moment? You build range. You avoid overexposure without strategy. You choose roles that expand perception, not just repeat it. You shift from being just a new phase to creating a lasting presence. Attraction can introduce you, but strategy is the only thing that can sustain you. From this phase, you move to the peak phase, which is where you still have massive attention, you still have massive visibility, you're not people are still not quite familiar or overly saturated with your content. There's a high desirability, there's strong online discourse, people attach fantasies and personalities to him. From there, you move finally to the saturation phase when the attention has stabilized. Excitement about this personality is replaced by familiarity, and you run the risk of being too overexposed. So, what is the purpose of making this whole analysis or breakdown of attention, attraction, visibility, and whatnot? It is because I personally believe that the peak phase is a gold mine for anybody who is in the limelight. So for example, this is based on Michael's attention currently, and I believe that he's currently sitting on a gold mine, which, if handled correctly, if strategized well, can help him reap a lot of rewards or benefits. I recently came across a video where, Uche Montana was talking about the fact that he's doing a lot of things right at this particular time in his career. And I think he would be even much, much better off if he's able to strategize and make use of the attention. I believe Michael is not just trending, he represents a phase in the attraction economy, a point where everything aligns. He's got the looks, he's got the talent, and obviously now he's got the visibility. And the timing also helps his situation. But like every moment in media, it is not forever. It moves. So the real power is not just being seen, not just having the attention, not just being visible. The real power is knowing what to do when the attention is on you, before your audience gets used to you, before there's overexposure risk, before people just start getting too familiar with you. Every rising star, every personality, every musician, movie actor, popular person, person in the limelight has a moment. The rare ones are able to turn that attention into longevity. I think this also can be related to actual real life relationships, where at the start of the relationship, everything is exciting. You're doing everything together because essentially this person feels new. It's exciting. It seems adventurous. You are getting to know new things about each other every single day, and as time goes on, you already know everything about this person. So the excitement with which you started that relationship isn't the same. And if you that's when people who don't put in the work in working on their relationships say that we've lost the spark, or this person has changed, or it's not because the person changed, but it's because you have adapted. Another way to look at it is the scarcity versus saturation effect, where the less you see more of something or someone, the more your desire for them increases. And the more you see somebody, the less you desire them. And the more scarce a resource is, the more scarce something is, or the more scarce someone is, the more we desire to have more of that thing, person, or resource. A lot of people say Beyonce is unapproachable, or she just doesn't go to a lot of appearances, or she doesn't have a lot of appearances on screen or social media, essentially saying that she does not like to be around people. But I think, I don't honestly don't know if that's how it is, but this is just a basic, this is my take on it. I feel it's a strategy to still hold attention. I feel that is why Beyonce has been able to maintain attention with the public for so many years, because she still leaves a lot to be imagined. Like I've remembered countless times where I have been so curious about her personal life, what she does, because you don't see much of her on the internet, you don't see much of her in public places. And there's something attractive about that. But when you hear that Beyonce is going to appear on a certain platform, or is going to grant an interview to a certain media house, you just can't help but want to watch what she has to say, because she has been able to maintain that attention. And I think that is where this, reinvention phase comes in, where when you get to the peak phase, you are able to put in certain measures or strategies, which maybe I'm going to be talking about in another video, that helps you to maintain that attention, that visibility, that excitement with which people still want to hear more of. Final thoughts: attraction isn't about who is objectively better. It is often influenced by who is new, who is visible, and who is timed correctly. Attention has a lifespan. Popularity will come in waves. Today's obsession might become tomorrow's familiarity, and that's honestly the truth. So make the most out of it. Make the most out of the attention that you are getting. Thank you for watching this video. I think this video has been quite insightful, even for myself. If you happen to come across this channel, hi, I like to talk about things that I just observe in the world of content creation, media, and anything that has to do with the digital space. So if you're interested in topics like that, you might want to consider subscribing to this channel. It's free. Like this video if you enjoyed watching, and I'll see you in the next video.